Hello and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me on this channel once again. So today we will be doing something really interesting. We will be trying our hands at Istio on a macOS running on an Apple Silicon chip. And we will use Minikube as our Kubernetes cluster. So let's see how it goes. So on my screen on the left side I have my terminal, and on the right side I have the Istio documentation. So let's see what the documentation says. Okay, so we will need a running cluster with a supported version of Kubernetes. So let's get that up and running first. So I'll say Minikube start and I'll use a new profile saying Istio demo. Okay, so we'll give it a minute to start up. Okay, so we have our Minikube cluster up and running. So the next step is to download Istio. So it says go to the Istio release page to download the installation file for your OS or download and extract the latest release automatically. Okay, so we will use this option. We'll copy this command, paste. Okay, so we have to go inside the Istio directory. Let's do that. And we have to set our path so that our machine can find the Istio cutl command. Okay, so let's see if we have Istio cutl available. Yes, so it's available. Alright, so now that we have downloaded Istio, it's time to install it. So as the documentation suggests, we will use the demo configuration profile. The demo configuration profile is the best profile for trying your hands at Istio. So it gives you an installation of the Istio daemon, the ingress gateway and the egress gateway. And these are the basic components that you need in order to get familiar with Istio. So we will use the demo profile and install Istio. Okay, so this is done. So the next step is to add a namespace label to instruct Istio to automatically inject Envoy sidecar proxies when you deploy your application. Okay, so for those who are familiar with Istio, you know that Istio works on the concept of Envoy proxies, which are sidecar containers running alongside your main application container in your pod. In order for Istio to be able to automatically inject these sidecar containers into your pod, you need to enable the Istio injection, and it is done by using this command. So let me just enable Istio injection for the default namespace. Okay, so that's done. So it's time to deploy a sample application. Now I want everyone to be familiar with the BookInfo sample application that Istio provides. If you're new at Istio and just trying to get yourself familiar, this is the application that you need to deploy and start exploring and be familiar with it. There's no need to create your own applications or deploy some custom applications. The BookInfo application is all that you need, so just go ahead and use it. The sample manifests for the BookInfo application are already provided and they are available as part of the package that you installed for Istio. So I'll just go and run this command. Okay, so the application will start, and as each pod becomes ready, an Istio sidecar will be deployed along with it. So we can take a look at this by executing the kubectl get pods command, and you see that all the pods are in an initializing status right now, and each pod has two containers associated with it. So this is as expected. So one is the application container, whereas the other is the Envoy sidecar container that Istio is injecting into the pod. So we will just give this a minute for all the pods to be up and running. So this will depend a bit on your network speed and your internet speed. So you just have to be a bit patient. Okay, so you see that the pods are gradually coming up. So finally all the pods are up and running, and each pod has two containers as can be seen on the screen, and both are ready. Let's take a quick look at the services. Okay, so we have all the services available here. So it says the next step is to verify everything is working correctly up to this point. So run this command to see if the app is running inside the cluster and serving HTML pages by checking for the page title in the response. Okay, so we are getting the output as expected. So our application is up and running and we have accessed it from within the cluster. So we have not yet exposed the application so that it can be invoked from outside the Istio cluster. We are still accessing it from within the cluster, and in the next step we will see how to open the application to outside traffic. Okay, so to make any application accessible from outside the service mesh, we need to create an Istio Ingress Gateway resource. So let's do that by using a manifest that has already been provided. But before applying the manifest, let's try to have a quick look at what is present inside the manifest. So it's going to deploy an Istio gateway with the name BookInfo gateway, and it has a selector for Istio Ingress Gateway. So this is the label of the Ingress Gateway pod which was deployed along with our Istio installation. So here it is listening for all the hosts. So we just have an asterisk as a wildcard. So it will listen to all the requests. And we have a virtual service, and what this virtual service does, it's listening for all hosts and it is linking itself to the gateway that we will create here. And then it has certain rules to match URIs based on a particular pattern. And if your URI, if your input request is matching any of these patterns, it's going to route your request to a destination service with the name as product page. So if we take a quick look at the services, you should see one with the name as product page. Okay, all right, so we will apply this YAML. Alright, so the BookInfo gateway is created and the BookInfo virtual service is created. And the next step they are suggesting is to use Istio Analyze to see that there are no validation issues. Okay, so the analysis is successful. We do not have any validation issues. The next step is to determine the ingress IP and ports. So this is important because this will be the host and port which we will use in order to access our Istio cluster from the outside or from your local machine. So the instructions are slightly different based on whether you are using Minikube or some other flavor of Kubernetes. Since we are using Minikube, we will follow all the instructions in the Minikube tab. If you are using another Kubernetes flavor or installation, you feel free to go to the other platforms tab and you will get instructions for your platform of choice. Since we are using Minikube, we will stay on the Minikube tab. Okay, so the first step is to start a Minikube tunnel. This is especially important if you are on macOS to make your deployments and services in Minikube accessible from outside the cluster. The way to do this is to open a new tab. So we will open a new tab and run the command Minikube tunnel, and we need to give the profile, and the profile we used was Istio demo. It will ask you for the password, so just enter your macOS admin password, and this establishes a Minikube tunnel. After you establish a Minikube tunnel, if you take a look at the services inside the Istio system namespace, so I'll just expand it momentarily so that you guys can have a look at it. Okay, so your Istio Ingress Gateway is of type load balancer and it has an external IP associated with it, and this is basically the IP that you will need to use in case you want to access your Istio cluster from your host machine. So we have a tunnel running. The next step is that we have to set certain variables which will make it easier for us to access the cluster. So let's take a look at the documentation. It is advising us to set an environment variable for the ingress host, the ingress port, and the secure ingress port. So we are just going to copy all these values and run these commands, and then we will test that the execution was successful by just echoing the value of all the variables we just created. Alright, so everything is working as expected, and then we will set the gateway URL. Alright, and ensure an IP address and port were successfully assigned to the environment variable. Okay, so everything is working as expected. The next step is to verify external access. So the situation where we are is that our application is up and running. We have validated it successfully from within the cluster. We have created a gateway resource to enable access from outside the cluster, and now we are going to test whether all our setup was successfully done. So to verify external access, we need to run this command so that it gives us the appropriate URL in order to connect. So this is the URL that has been displayed on the screen, and it says paste the output from the previous command into your web browser and confirm that the BookInfo product page is displayed. So I'll just take the URL, paste it. Wow, it's time to say congratulations, because you've just successfully accessed your application, which is deployed on an Istio Service Mesh inside a Minikube cluster from your local machine, and you see that the application is up and running on the browser. Well done. So we can also view the application on the Kiali Dashboard, which is just like a visualization about all the components in your service mesh. So let's go ahead and install Kiali and the other add-ons which have been suggested here. Okay, so we'll just give it a minute for all the extra add-ons to be up and running. Alright, so we see that the Kiali deployment is running. So what we'll do is we'll just try to access the Kiali dashboard. So for this I'll open a new tab. So we have the Kiali dashboard up and running, and if we go to the graphs section, currently we don't see any information. So we need to hit the Istio cluster with a minimal amount of load before Kiali can help with the data visualization. So what we'll do is we'll access the application in a for loop by making a request to the product page 100 times in succession. And now let's see what Kiali has to say. So if we refresh it now, you will see that we have a graph, but to view it better, I will need to maximize the browser. Yeah, and there you have it. You have a complete representation of your application on Istio. So it starts with the Istio Ingress Gateway, and then the traffic is routed to the product page. The product page makes a call to the details microservice and the reviews microservice. The reviews microservice has 3 different versions, and the version 2 and version 3 of the reviews microservice makes a call to the ratings microservice. And this is the entire visualization. Okay, so we will look into some more aspects of Istio and the Kiali dashboard and its other features as we go into the further videos, but I wanted to keep this one very basic so that you have a good feel about what it is to just install Istio and start playing around with it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the subsequent video. Thank you.